God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The woman at the well, she told Jesus, she said, when he told her to go get her husband, and she perceived that he was a prophet, she told him that our fathers worshipped in this mountain. Okay. And Jesus said unto her, the time is coming, and it now is, when ye shall neither worship in this mountain, neither in Jerusalem shall ye worship. But the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. True worship. What is true worship? We go to church on Sunday. We pay our tithes. We do that which the pastor tells us to do. And we think that's true worship. So did the woman at the well. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain. They thought that was where the true worship was. And the Jews, they worshipped at Jerusalem. They thought that's where the true worship was, at the temple. But the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. I've been reading this book about the beginning of the church at Pentecost. It wasn't nothing, absolutely nothing like what we have today. There were no pastors. There were no church buildings. Nobody paid tithes. They all met in people's houses. There was no big shots amongst them. They were all equal. This was how it was up until Constantine. And when Constantine came, he started building buildings. But in the beginning, the church was individuals. They would get together and they would admonish one another and pray. And the Spirit moved among them. Because that's where God dwells. He dwells amongst his people when they're speaking about him. He loves them to talk about him. His people. That's a problem. People used to meet in homes. That's how it was for a long time after the Pentecost. Then, when Constantine came, they started building churches. And look at these churches, how they're set up. If you follow the church ages, you see this Nicolaitan spirit starting to move in, as Brother Branham talked about it, to conquer the laity. So when they moved out of the homes where everybody got to talk, everyone was equal. They all sit around, prayed for each other, loved one another, till then that Nicolaitan spirit started to move in. And that Nicolaitan spirit started to move in. And when that spirit moved in, you eventually ended up with church buildings, which is absolutely pagan, okay? Come right out of paganism. And if you look how the church building is set up, it's set up so that all the congregation or the laity face the one leader, the man up at the pulpit, what we call a pastor, okay, or whoever he is, teacher, or the fivefold ministry. We all face him. We do not have, that's the way all churches, buildings are set up. That is higher than everybody else, and we all look to that one central location, the sacred desk, where the pastor brings forth the word. But from the beginning, it was not this way at all. In the beginning, they met in homes. When you meet in homes, you can communicate one with another. You can admonish one another. You can talk about the love that you have for the Lord and talk about Him. That is the true worship. Not one man sitting, lording over everybody else, and then taking their money and them worshiping Him. That's basically what that is. That's false worship, where one man is up above everybody else and he gets worshiped. They don't mean to do it, but they do it anyways.